to infinity and beyond.
What's up, everyone? It's Roger and James here from DisKingdom.com with your weekly Disney video game podcast. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Toys to Life and generally how the entire industry has kind of changed what's going on. You know, obviously with the cancellation of Disney Infinity, now there's been recent news of Skylanders taking out a year and what LEGO Dimensions are doing. So, James, it's sort of, you know, obviously we've been a big thing for Disney Infinity for years. We've been following Skylanders. We've played, you know, I've owned games from each. You know, I've been hooked. I've done it all. But the magic is wearing off. It's that thing of like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for the Toys to Life genre right now. You know, as we've discussed at length, Disney Infinity is gone, very much gone at this point. Skylanders, as you said, taking 2017 off, except for... It sounds like they're going to release some adventure packs for Imaginators, which, I mean, they were going to do that anyway, so That's not really anything new. They are releasing a mobile game, but we don't know any details about that. And then there's LEGO Dimensions, which, despite the pedigree of the brand as a video game, just continually disappoints.
I mean, the thing, like, first off with the Skylanders stuff, them taking a year out is not really a big surprise. We've been expecting it for a while. The failure of Trap Team started it, because I always feel like Swap Force was like right at the peak. It was that thing that was right at the peak. Trap Team was a game that came out and people weren't so keen on the trap format. It felt like that people go, oh, this is a money thing. Even I brought Trap Team and was like, I'm not doing this trap stuff. This is way too expensive. Superchargers came along. And that, I mean, I picked it up for £3 and I still haven't played it. That's how I've got it under here now, underneath this desk, and I still have not played it, but for £3 I couldn't resist. And Imaginators seem to be like a step forward again in gameplay. Haven't picked it up. I've actually been tempted a little bit by the Switch version, but I'm not paying that price for it just yet. I like the idea that I could play it without actually having to use the toys.
That's the way that we should be playing it. You shouldn't be bound to the portal the entire time.
So that's them taking a leap out. They've got the new animated TV series on Netflix. Season 2's coming. Season 3's been confirmed. I think Skylanders have got some great characters and some great branding. They just need to change the format. And I'll be honest, to me, the big problem with Skylanders and Toys to Life as a whole was they went way too big. They got very, very greedy, all of the company. I'm going to put this right across all of them. LEGO's kind of pulled back a little bit back. They made too many packs. They made too many figures. They did too many locked areas. And kids got used to this. They started feeling like they were feeling under pressure, and they started backing off. Parents started backing off. Us gamers started backing off because we started feeling these games were costing way more than the value they were offering. Also, I feel as a pet, you know, if you're buying them year on year, you're going, well, you're not offering me, you know, this huge investment in this game every year in what I'm getting. I also think the kids from year 1 and year 2 would no longer want to buy Skyland. The kids that started on Skylanders are probably playing Grand Theft Auto 5 now. You know, they've moved on in those 6 years. And I think for a new parent coming into like Imaginators, they're looking at this mass wall of merchandise and going, nope. And I think that's they've gone, I got caught with this with your brother or sister, I'm not doing it again. Or I've already lost on Disney Infinity, and I feel like that's hit all of them. You know, we've known LEGO Dimensions, they've cut back because, you know, they cut back on the amount of packs they released. Disney Infinity I think James from Infinity Music goes, oh, they're going the Infinity route. Maybe not the best route to take, but in general, and Amiibo was another thing that I must admit, with the Switch, I have been looking at Amiibos and I must stop myself because they don't do anything, but they look pretty. And even they had their really big rush because you couldn't get them, so they made them more wanted. But once the hub died down on them and people could buy them, the buzz on that kind of dropped off a little bit. So just in general, I think everyone got very, very burnt out very, very quickly.
Well, I think there's a very important double-edged sword at play here too, which is especially for Skylanders and Disney Infinity, which was the idea that the figures I buy today will work in tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
But Disney Infinity, until we got that Marvel pack with Disney Infinity 3.0, there was no incentive to continue using your 1.0 and 2.0 characters.
No.
And Skylanders, every year they have the new gimmick landers. And so, yes, I can play with my older characters, but why would I when the new ones are far more powerful and far more into the game, and I have to use them to unlock various things, which is just like, don't punish me for having the original ones and having given you money already. And then you've got this other thing where, like you were talking about, the kids have grown up, and now new kids want to come into it, but they're looking at 5-6 years worth of figures that they can go through, and it's just like, why would I even start? Because if I'm looking at needing to get not needing, but if I'm looking at it and going, there's 150 figures to pick from, why should I even start with one? This is not to tangent too much, but this is why I'm not playing the current Pokemon games. I'm like, I started when there was 151 Pokemon, and now there's 900 something Pokemon. I'm just like, I'm not investing my mental energy into figuring this out.
No,
it's not worth it.
Yeah, I always felt like Skylanders needed this TV show years ago. Because I always felt like, things like Trigger Happy, Spyro, Stealth Elf, and all these were characters, and they were good characters, and they pushed them forward, but you didn't have any connection to them. They were just generic little monsters. There was no story. They give you a little bio, but people had to make up their own story. If you saw Woody on the shelf versus Stealth Elf, people knew Woody. People had that connection to him. They didn't do it with it. Skylanders have done a great job of it. Personally, I always felt like the Skylanders core game, I remember so many people used to say this about Skylanders core game, used to be so much better than anything because it was a single campaign, you could play through it, it was like a traditional like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot kind of game, and it was fun. And as long as you had one of each element, you could kind of get through the game. Of course, then they started getting swaps and elements and all these other things, and it started getting to the point where, I've got all 8-10 elements, or we're introducing more, and now you need the switches to get into 2 of them, and then that one can't get in there, and it got very complicated. Think of expansion packs, and did the portals work with the last one? And I think the car gimmick and the traps, they just got greedy, and they just went all in. It's like, because they just we want more money, we want more. It's like, you fleeced your customers. You knew this was going to happen. I think they knew that this was going to kick in.
They knew from the beginning. This is Activision. This is the company. I mean, EA gets a ton of flack for their practices, but it's Activision, in my mind, that is really very good at just burying franchises. We will drain every dollar we can from Call of Duty, Guitar Hero, World of Warcraft, and Skylanders, and just be like, we'll keep making them so long as we make money off of them. We don't really care what happens to the brand dilution and all that fun stuff. For me, you've mentioned this, but for me it was Trap Team was the issue. And it's not Trap Team itself. It's actually what happened after, where, people bought all those traps and then realized they are functionally worthless in all the future games. Oh, you can get special ammo for your car and yippee-ki-yay, woohoo. Yeah. No one cares. The vehicles are now completely worthless in Imaginators unless you want to do the racetracks, which are the exact same racetracks from Superchargers. It's cool that they're included in the game, so I don't have to swap them out, except the racing wasn't that fun in the first place. And for me, that was the big deal. It's like, all right, on one hand, I don't have any incentive to use the Swap Force characters, but I can use them if I want.
Yeah.
Why would I possibly spend money on traps or cars if I'm not going to be able to use them in other games? It's completely worthless.
I'd always feel like, even right now, if they just came out with a Skylanders game with 10 playable characters that you could swap around, and you can buy DLC and buy extra characters, they've got a solid game. They've got a game that would sell very well. The trouble is they're looking at it going, well, a $60 game plus some DLC does not equate to the money that they used to bring in, and it will always be like, well, it's not bringing in what it used to. You could still have a major franchise that could bring in hundreds of millions of dollars a year, but it won't bring in $1 billion. This if they just went back to what Spyro used to be, just have a game, and you swap and you can change the characters on screen. They don't need. But then there's also that thing: if they had only had maybe 10 toys each year, people might have been a little bit more inclined to keep going. Maybe that's, it's skipping. Maybe every 2 years might be a good thing for them. I always feel like this game, give people a break. You might be like, oh, there's a new Skylanders game, I'll get it. There's only 10 characters. There's no variant, all this stuff. I think they have an option. Skylanders, I think, has a better chance of continuing than all of the brands, actually, because I feel like it's unique enough. But if they take it slow and redo it, because I feel like LEGO Dimensions, they came from an original game, gone into the toy things, and it's not working, and they're going to go back to what they've done. I'm being totally honest. I mean, you know, with what the packs you've just got, this is gonna be hard to maintain.
See, for me, I think, I don't know how feasible this is, but for Skylanders, what I would really like to see, or I think might be a useful way of approaching things, is rather than doing an annual release, let's take the LEGO route and say, this game right here will be good for the next several years, and we'll add on to it over time. No gimmick Landers, just straight up core Skylanders. Every character you've got is usable. And over time, you just release new levels. Either you do it through the packs that they have now, or preferably, in the original Skylanders, if you plopped a character down, you got a unique little tiny challenge map that you could do with that with any character.
Yeah.
Expand that a little bit, release fewer characters, but give them levels that anybody can then be part of. I'd say people would go ahead and buy it. You might not make the $1 billion sales, but you'll have a consistent fan base who will be more than happy to pick up new content at regular intervals.
Yeah, and then every 2 years the game comes out and it kind of updates. And I think I still feel like they could do another 10 Skylanders games every 2 years, and it would still bring in money. It's never going to bring in what it used to. And I think they need, but that brand has got something that those characters are unique enough they can keep doing it. And I think the TV shows and stuff will help do that. But it's just interesting to see, like, this last year, how since Disney Infinity it just seems to, and all 4 companies just look like they've just really struggled.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Disney got out at the right time. They actually probably waited a little too long in retrospect, but they got out at the right time. They saw the writing on the wall, and they moved out. As much as it hurt for the rest of us to deal with it at the time, it was the right move. Amiibo, they still need a game. I mean, yeah, you've got Super Smash Bros. Where you can put them in and fight the NPC or whatever, but they need a game that actually utilizes the Amiibos for something interesting.
Yeah, it's funny you say it, because like last night I was sat there and I was like, I keep wanting to pick up that 30th anniversary Mario one, and because I like the figure, and it's like, compatibility chart, because this is like a weird thing, like it's like Google, what do Amiibos do, and it's like come up on the FAQ, it's like, this is so complicated, like what game works with what game doesn't work, what does this, because I know like the Shovel Knight one will do something in the new Shovel Knight game and something like that, and it's just like, this is so complicated compared to what I was used to, and obviously some of the, it's like, I mean, there's all these Zelda ones coming out, it's like, well, I don't even know what they do in the game, so they're just. But I think Nintendo have got an opportunity. They can kind of slide into it. They're carrying on with it because they're putting it into the new Switch, and that'll be around for years. But they've seemed to slowed it down a little bit. And you bring out a brand new game and you get an Amiibo, and you can boost the price up. And they seem to have kind of pulled back a little bit on it. But as far as like LEGO Dimensions go, I mean, I've been last year I was saying about them bringing Frozen or bringing Disney and Star Wars. I don't think it's going to happen now. Feeling a year on, I have to see. I think at the time we were looking at what LEGO Dimensions were doing for year 2 and going, this could carry on. There was a lot of buzz around it. 6 months on, I'm looking at going, just bring out a normal game on this, and it will sell better. And that's it.
I mean, you look at it; these story packs, the Harry Potter story pack, the Batman Lego Batman story pack, at retail, they're the same price as a full Lego game, and you're not getting anywhere near the same Lego experience with Lego Batman as you are with, say, Lego Force Awakens. So from a consumer perspective, it makes very little sense to drop $50. Granted, I paid less than half of $50 for Lego Batman the week it came out.
Yeah.
So obviously those prices are adapting. but that's not necessarily a good thing for Dimensions, because if you're getting games at less than half price of the MSRP on release week, that says that your retailers don't have confidence in the product.
Do you know, this has been the really weird thing with the Dimensions this year, was that thing of going, they didn't do anything for year one. Didn't do any, they were like, we're Lego, we do not discount. Year two, we're discounting before it's even been released. And you're like, well, you guys have got to come up with, it's like, okay, you want to get these in the hands, but it almost feels like we've made these and we have to shift them. I like the idea of the story pack, but it's like that thing of like, Lego one, the Lego Batman games have been so good in the past that this game was, I think a lot of people were expecting that kind of quality, and it's just by the sounds of it, not there.
No, it really isn't. And then they're also trying to shoehorn in like, oh, well, Batman is included in LEGO Dimensions, but we've got this fun pack with another Batman, and he's got Excalibur, but he's not actually in the movie. It appears for less than a second in like the costume montage sequence, and that's it.
Is that it?
That's it. It's they've shown in the trailers where Robin's like going through the Batsuit list. And he's like Mariachi Batman and Rastafarian Batman, and there for less than a second is Excalibur Batman, and you're just like, that's it. That's what you're basing this on.
Yikes! Oh right, yeah. See, I thought the Lego Batman movie is something I'm going to wait till it comes. I'll rent it when it comes out. It's just like, it's something for me of like, I kind of enjoyed the first Lego movie, but it's not. It's just not a cinema movie for me. It's not worth the cost of that. But I'll rent it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But yeah, I thought it was a little bit more of a character than that. But I mean, it just feels like it. But it feels like they've just lost that excitement over it. I don't know what. I don't know if they went so heavily on the 80s stuff that we've like, yeah, it sounds great, but they lost the kids. The kids weren't interested in it.
No, I mean, why do the kids want Knight Rider or E.T. or any of these guys? I mean, if you raised them right, sure, you've shown them the good classic 80 movies or whatever, but most kids aren't really interested in those. They're interested in Frozen and Minions and all this stuff. Yeah. So... and it's just this weird disconnect, because all the fun packs, the individual character packs, are 80s properties, but the stories are modern properties.
Yeah.
Lego Batman, Harry Potter, Ghostbusters 2016. It's like, so which is it? Do you want the nostalgia or do you want the current?
Yeah.
And at least, make some consistency. If you want to be nostalgia, I don't know, give us a Goonies story pack or something, like a proper story pack. I know the Goonies will be in the game, but it's just a character. They're not going to have anything attached to them.
I think as well, in general, they've not, I think it's just not, and also again, I think they've come from the other problem of all the baggage from Skylanders and Infinity bled over to Lego Dimensions. So even though they weren't a culprit of it, therefore they got affected by it. They came out with too many packs. I mean, the dollar sales and, even that loot crate that came out with, all this kind of, the value of those packs has become worthless. And it's that weird thing of like now the value of these sets, I mean, they went from something stupid to now being worthless within the space of a year. It's just like, it's nowhere in between. And they've now set up that those fun packs aren't worth any money.
Well, I think this is something that they did not learn from Disney Infinity, which was the characters that we're selling, we want them attached to something, and otherwise there's not much value. Even the Frozen characters after the original launch, which was kind of crazy, but after that they became like, well, I can't use them in the play sets. And you could use them in the toy box, but as we've discussed in the past, most people weren't interested in the toy box. Most people wanted the play sets. And I think what we're going to get with Dimensions, this is something that LEGO is going to be seriously looking at for year 3, is if we're seeing these sets devalued this much, either post-launch or pre-launch, they're not going to want to release these because it's going to devalue regular LEGO sets as well. Why should I buy the LEGO Batman play sets, like the actual LEGO construction stuff, if I can buy the story pack for half the price and get Batgirl and I can't remember the other character in it, Robin. Yeah, because the minifigures are one of the biggest draws for these, and if I
Yeah.
can get them for super cheap, I'm not buying their $70
Well,
or $80 sets.
some of the fun packs are cheaper than a blind bag in the shop.
Exactly.
That's how bad they got. I mean, I do feel. I mean, I feel like from Lego's point of view, you got Lego Worlds, which is released in February. Really cheap. I don't know what. I mean, I feel like for 18, 19 pound, it's a very cheap game. I'm very much more tempted. I'm wondering whether or not they're going to go with the DLC route of here's the basic game. We're going to start adding stuff afterwards, because it seems very, very cheap, for what it is. I'll be honest. It almost feels like that's for me would have almost needed to be a Switch purchase, because it would be kind of good game to have on that. Whether or not that comes later. Lego City Undercover is being ported to everything. We saw the Harry Potter. It felt like, to me, it was a little bit like Lego Dimensions is doing it. We need to port everything that we've got in the back catalogue over because we're not making enough money. You know, the Harry Potter and the Switch and the City Undercover. They didn't need to. They shouldn't have been out. They shouldn't have been out under normal circumstances because Dimensions should have been covering the base. But I think it was this isn't selling. We need to make sure we've got Lego games out there for people to buy, and I think they're going to go back to that model. I don't think Disney, Star Wars, etc. They're just going to want another game. The success of Force Awakens and Avengers was too much, and they're going to look at and they're going to be like, show us the sales of Fantastic Beasts and Batman and Ghostbusters. Yeah, no, we'll have a normal game, please.
It's interesting about Lego Undercover because Lego City Undercover is one of the place that I'm not sure exactly what the deal with it for.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be a fun pack for Dimensions. Yeah. So you can go one of two ways with this. You can go either, we wanted to re-release it because we expect people are going to get the Lego City Fun Pack and then they're going to want to play the game, or they're looking at it and going, we're not expecting this fun pack to sell, so we need to get some money back immediately. Yeah. And I think you and I both agree it's probably the latter. Obviously, we have no insider information, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like they put all their attentions on. They're both Lego teams onto Dimensions to get this stuff made, and I'm going to be interested to see what they come up with and announce for year 3, because I don't know if it's going to be less. They took the people that were working on like the Star Wars Force Awakens game and moved them over to Dimensions, and it wouldn't surprise me if I feel like these ports are right. We need them to get back onto doing another game. It can take so long to make, but they'd made their bed with Dimensions. I don't think there will be a Dimensions 2, or if there is, it won't go with the toy route.
I think Lego Worlds might honestly be Dimensions 2, where maybe the DLC for that game is, all right, here is your Lego City Undercover playset, or whatever you call it. We'll give you a short 2-hour game that you can play from our little blocks. And then once you're done with it, we'll do it the Infinity style, where now you can use whatever unique pieces are in that in your world creations.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Lego Worlds has kind of got an opportunity to be something big. Obviously, the price point is low enough that I feel like they're going with the Minecraft route, where they are like, this is a kids game, and we want to lock them in. We want to get them locked in, and we want to make this a DLC constant. Because it wouldn't surprise me if they start adding characters to it, where all this characters now have DLC. Wouldn't surprise me at all. That's the way I look at it.
And that's kind of why I would consider this like Dimensions 1.5 or 2 or whatever. Is the other thing is, with Dimensions, you have to make the physical figures, so it's significantly harder to get franchises involved in it because you have to be able to justify the production cost. DLC, you pay it once, you pay the franchise fee, you pay somebody to develop the character plus whatever figures go along with it, and then you're done. You leave it on the store. You don't have to manufacture it. It's just there.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't sell gangbusters at first, it will almost certainly make its money back within a year or so, counting sales and stuff.
I'm looking at it a bit like the Minecraft and the Little Big Planet, where they have Star Wars characters in Minecraft, and in Little Big Planet they have so many franchises in there, and all it literally is little levels or costumes, and it's that kind of thing of I look at Lego Worlds and go, it would work. it would work perfectly with it, because and also Disney and other franchises would be looking at it going, this is just win-win. It doesn't affect our brand, it doesn't affect the characters at all. We make money from it. In fact, the fans get something. There's no downside to doing it because it's completely separate, and I think that could happen. But I feel the Toys to Life. I don't know whether or not it'll be one of those situations where we might get Toys to Life in different ways, but the way that they have done it will not carry on with just basic figures. Maybe whether or not you get I think they've tried it with toys that have apps and all the rest of it. I mean, they're desperately trying to come up with the idea of what's going to help sell these toys. Or buy this toy and you get this app and you get this game, but they never put the effort in enough to make the app worthwhile to be played with. Look at Playmation.
I mean, Playmation, and then Lego tried it with Nexo Nights or Nexus Nights, whatever they're called. You buy the Lego figures and you get your little playset, and then I think it was the shields. Each character had a shield, and you scan the shield into the game, and it did something. I never played it, so I don't know what the exact effect is. But every one of the Nexo Night playsets had these shields, and be like, go buy this, and then you also get this for the mobile app. And I haven't heard much of squat about Nexo Night, so I can't assume it did all that well, but points for trying. Yeah. I mean, they didn't even put Nexo Nights into Dimensions. They put Ninjago and Chima in there, but they didn't put the new one, so that's pretty telling too.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like in general, the whole Disney Infinity also, I don't know if like the cancellation of Disney Infinity was that thing of that sent a rocket right across the whole brand, across the whole franchises, saying parents, people not being aware of it being cancelled and the effect of it, and everyone kind of going, well, Disney are getting out of it because they ain't making enough money at it. That was never a good sign. It wouldn't surprise me if, like we say, Nintendo could be the last one standing on it, going, well, we don't even do anything with it. So
you kind of got to give a little bit of credit to Nintendo. They didn't treat the Amiibos, or they don't treat the Amiibos as gameplay figures. It's like, you're buying these because you want to put them on the shelves, and you might get a little side bonus of having them in the game. But I think Infinity's cancellation, rather than a perspective from like Activision and Lego and whatnot, look at it from the consumer perspective, and you see, especially among people who were deeply embedded into the Infinity community, that loss of confidence in the products continuing to maintain. And now people, whether or not they are already playing Skylanders or LEGO Dimensions, are like, you know what? I don't have confidence that there's going to be a year 3 of LEGO Dimensions or a Skylanders game in 2017, which we now won't be. I think I'll just spend my money elsewhere where I know I'm going to get a full gameplay experience without having to worry about whether it's all going to get pulled out from under me in a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like right now, if I'm like, right, LEGO Worlds versus LEGO Batman story pack, LEGO Worlds sounds a better enticement. The next wave, Goonies, and I can't even think what the other thing was, LEGO City Undercover. LEGO City Undercover is a full game, price it is, whatever you get, what do you get? And I don't know, it's that thing as well of, and I think like with Dimensions, the other big problem with that, and I think Skylanders will follow that similar problem. The campaign is what brings people to the dance. That is what people love. That is what everybody likes. Year 2s are a bit like, well, we're not giving you a new campaign. You buy over this little stuff, and everyone going, no, well, that's the campaign's the main thing. That's what I want. It's like year 2 everyone wanted like Dimensions to kind of have like year 2 of that story was going to have a continue on where you could use all the characters and they're all intertwining. And the idea of doing those story packs was that everything would be intertwining a bit. And it's like, no, it didn't. It wasn't like that.
And they missed a big opportunity too, because you can still use any character in any playset, in any level, and all that fun stuff. But you take the Harry Potter playset or the story pack, and you put, I don't know, Gandalf in there from Lord of the Rings. There's no payoff to it. There's no like Gandalf going, what is this other magical world? I'm a magician, but I don't know what's going on here. Or you've got Batman popping in there and being like, none of this makes sense. I'm Batman, and this doesn't have to do with science. And there's no interaction. One of the best things in year one was putting two characters down and just seeing how they talk to each other, and then taking them off because it got really annoying because they only had one line each. But seeing how they reacted was cool.
Tea or coffee? What will win? Tea or coffee? Shut up.
Just stop. Just stop.
I was just like, stop it. What? I don't. It's like, stop saying it. And every time you fly off, I get the like. It was fun the first 3-4 times, but
how hard would it have been for them to do even 3 or 4 different interactions between the characters? Instead, they just did one per character. I don't know. It could have been extremely hard for them to do it. Maybe they were really pushing up against that memory limit or whatever, but we don't know that. But I'm sitting here like, at that point, I'd kind of rather you didn't at all.
Yeah. It's just that weird. It's like I said, it's the whole industry has changed. You know, it's what brought us to the dance, but can't help but feel now that aspect of the, and also that whole, it's that weird thing as well. Like, obviously from our point of view as well, we're involved in that world of the unboxings, the excitement over all the releases, what they're gonna do, the costume changes, the power discs, you know, what they did, how they worked, and you know, we all got sucked into the hype and all that excitement. And obviously, as Disney Infinity people, we lost that, but you could see it happening to everybody else. You know, I mean, like, you know, you can see like Disney Dan doing his stuff with LEGO Dimensions, and obviously the guys over at Res doing their In Dimensions podcast. But it never, and the Skyland, you know, Rob's still doing his stuff with Skylanders and stuff. But the excitement over it just never has really been the same, even coming off of them. You know, I've never felt like, you know, there's always been, some of the Dimension stuff's been excited, but the buzz on my feed doesn't seem to be the same as it used to be.
And in fact, I think the Res TV guys, I think their Lego podcast is actually going to cover all Lego games rather than just Dimensions. I think they just changed it from Inside Dimensions to Inside Lego.
Yeah,
they teased it. I don't know if they ever actually did a formal announcement. That was my reading on it.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, they were always covering it because I listen to it every time because I also listen to the guys like the Nintendo podcast and stuff. And I know they like teaming up a bit with Disney Dan doing some Lego things, which makes sense. But it was always that kind of thing, you know. Obviously, you know, social media is very, very weird because it depends on what you're doing and what you're following. Depends on what you can see, and is that imaginative stuff. I mean, I saw lots of people creating videos on creating other franchises from outside of outside, and that seemed to be the thing that everyone seemed to be like, you know, here's random character number A, and you know, here's some celebrity and stuff, and that's what, you know, and that was seemed to be what there was a lot of excitement about for a while. I think the Baroness was doing that from one of the Infinity toy box writers. He was doing things like that, but in general, it just, you know, that excitement level and stuff seemed to have dropped off. I mean, I remember especially like Dimensions around like June, July, August, before year 2 hit, there was so much excitement. You know, you had Arthur and the guys going out there being really excited, and there was such a buzz around LEGO Dimensions. And then everything got released, and it seemed to peter off a bit.
I mean, on the one hand, we had all the price drops on Dimensions, on the year 2 Dimensions stuff, which suggests retailers weren't confident in it. And at the same time, we're still sitting here going, no, this is an absurd price for what you're offering us. You want us to pay $50 retail for story packs, and you want us to do it how many times this year?
Yeah.
I mean, part of the selling point of Dimensions was you buy it once, and then that's your base game. And that's true, with the caveat that if you want more story content, you're dropping $50 per go. And it's just like, yeah, that's not what I signed on for.
It was always that weird thing. I think like the whole thing about every year, like the game came out, and Infinity was saying, I don't want to have to buy another Portal. I don't want to have to keep buying this thing. It's costing me all this money. It's like, it was the game. That was what, you know, the campaigns were what kind of was what you were paying for. You know, a 10-hour Skylanders campaign. The USB thing was $1. You were paying for the campaign. LEGO Dimensions, I don't need another Portal, but I would like the other 10-hour year 2 campaign to have included all the characters, and you were jumping between it and you had the story. That's what I would have wanted. It's the Portal always became this like obsession because it was something physical and people didn't like buying something. Well, I've already got two of these. Why am I buying another? That was always and I felt like Dimensions missed that, and Skylanders could miss it as well if they don't. I think they need to, if they not necessarily do an update, but do like a season 2 pass, or just do here's a brand new full story, 4 or 5 hour campaign, $20 online only, or this different thing, and change it up a little bit. I always felt like if LEGO Dimensions had just come out with LEGO Dimensions 2, but without the Portal, would have that been better that way? And the same thing with Skylanders. Drop the Portal connection and all the figures coming with it were confusing things. But then again, people would get confused no matter what you do, I think.
I would like to see for Skylanders them just, release one game and then just continually update it. But when the game first came out back in the 360 and PS3 era, that wasn't really feasible, but that's not the era we're in anymore. The Xbox One and the PS4 are a lot more powerful. Yeah.
I mean, it's just this weird thing. I mean, episode content and season pass stuff I think is the way it's going to go, because I think development time as well is like that thing. If you can have 5-6 releases a year and you can keep getting that buzz around the new content instead of holding it all off in one go, as much as you almost like now feel like games we got used to binge watching games, and now they're trying this thing of giving you an episode a week or an episode a month, whatever. And on one hand, there's a load of people going, I like the binge, and there's a load of people as well going, actually, the spreading out. I mean, I was doing a review yesterday for something for Kingdom Hearts, and stuff. Imagine like Kingdom Hearts 0.2 was an episode. Say they released Kingdom Hearts 3, but they released it in 8 episodes every 2 months. It's like a thing of, rather than a 30-hour experience at once. You're sitting there going, and then it gives them time to work on 2 while they're still working on the first bit. We get it a bit earlier. It's that thing of, for me, that would have been an easier investment because of time. And I feel like the Skylanders stuff, the campaigns were always like, well, it's done, but you can buy these story packs, but we're really putting in the least amount of effort as we possibly can to kind of get through this.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect they really hit some time crunches on those too, particularly with the Lego Batman story pack, where you're just kind of like, we have to get this out for the movie.
Yeah.
But
then again, think like you announced it 8 months ago, but you knew it's that thing of like this thing about timings and stuff, about not knowing, like an animated movie takes a long time to make. They announced. And this thing about tying it into movies and stuff, it doesn't work when they're trying to do it identical. And like you say, would they have come out with a Lego Batman fully game, or do they think, oh, we'll see if we'll get away with it because it's interconnected? And I feel like the little approach is, I almost feel like we're going to see if we can push it and get away with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be more along the lines of like, let's just get what money we can from this. We know it's going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
But let's just recoup some of the money. We see this in comic books all the time, and that's a relatively low margin industry, where it's just like, we already made this comic, with the art's done, the writing is done. It's a terrible, terrible comic, but we already spent the money to make it, so there you go, guys. Yeah. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we lied.
It's a very odd little thing of just, I feel like in general, the whole system of, they've sometimes, and this is the thing of what toys are like, these story packs and these expansion packs and play sets and stuff, they never delivered and I think people got burnt out. It's like you say, we're years on years, and people think of expansion packs, and if you've brought them in the past, you go, I'm not going to get much out of it. And I think that's where, look at LEGO Dimensions. If you brought the Simpsons level pack in year 1, are you really going to be that thinking, well, Batman looks good, that'll give me 10 minutes? And I think that's the damage that these things do. I remember buying Skylanders expansion packs and go, 20-minute mission, or the Force Awakens playset for Disney Infinity. All this stuff damages it long run.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I think Disney, Lego, Activision, either they know and don't care or they don't know, is putting out a crappy product hurts later products. And it doesn't just hurt your products, it hurts other companies' products as well. I'm less likely to buy a Lego Dimensions thing because Skylanders has burned me in the past. I'm
Yeah.
less likely to buy Skylanders because I can't be confident that there will ever be another Skylanders game. Yes, they say it will return in 2018, but we have
Yeah.
no assurances of that at all.
But there is that thing as well. If you just buy the starter pack and you then tie your hands behind your back and go, "That's all you're buying," that you can have a good experience. You just
Yeah.
got to learn. It's almost like, I mean, I said this thing to my dad yesterday. That thing about not seeing adverts in like I don't know if you're reading a website or you're reading a magazine or you're watching the television, you become very ad blind. You stop seeing them after a while. You know what an advert is within a fraction of a second, and you go, nope. And I feel like if you play through the Skyline, it goes, you need a gold thing. No, carry on. And you just literally go, there might be some stuff in there that might be cool, but I'm not paying for it. And they almost need that mindset of going, that's just an advert.
And that's what's interesting about it is because when Skylanders came out, and specifically Skylanders in the 360 PS3 era, this mentality that we have with our mobile games of like, I'll just keep on throwing a couple dollars at this every once in a while wasn't in the consciousness, the mind consciousness. And now we even apps that we pay for, we expect, 99 cents for this, $2 for that, $3 for that. And you could either say one way that Activision should be capitalizing on that and being like, hey, this is just DLC with a physical figure that you can show off to your friends. Or on the other hand, it could be like, there's a number of gamers, in fact, the majority of mobile gamers who never spend a penny on it and just be like, oh, you want money for that? Well, I guess I'm not enjoying that part of the game.
Yeah.
So it's going to go both ways, and Activision's kind of stuck in that middle ground now.
I was in the car with my wife the other day, we were driving along, and just trying to drop hints of what I wanted, like a Valentine's game, because she always has this thing of she'll buy me like a budget game because she goes, I don't buy you flowers, so I'll buy you a game. So she's like, and I said, well, what's the difference? She goes, I said, that doesn't come with the DLC. So it's like, what's DLC? So I'm trying to explain it, and it's that thing of like, I said like paying for something on an app, and it literally is a thing of, no, I don't spend any money. I said, but you spend hours on these games, but you will not. She goes, no. And she's like, they don't only give me one puzzle a day. I want more, so we'll pay for it. And she's like, no, I'm not paying for it. I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll play another game. I said, but if you really wanted it, you'd pay it. I said, well, and she goes, and I was there going, remember, they have to pay to make the game, and they have to make it for you. So therefore, if you like it, you can buy it, and you can have more stuff on it. And it's just literally, so many people, like you say, they're just like, but I'm not paying for it. It's a game. We as gamers are used to paying, and that's the big difference.
And it's weird because mobile games are in that special little thing where the companies that produce them are like 95% of our players will never pay for anything in this game. And then I think it's like 4.5% of them will pay a couple dollars here or there. And then there's that 0.5% who the whales who will just drop thousands of dollars on a mobile game. And I'm not exaggerating. They literally drop as individuals thousands of dollars on the game just so they get that one character that no one else has, and that's how these mobile companies make their money is on that 0.5%. And then there's that 95% of us who are just sitting there going like, I'm not touching that. I'll just wait until tomorrow.
It's been quite funny looking at like how Nintendo have done it. Like they did like Maui, they did the Mayoto things. They did the Pokemon Go, very successful, still in the top 10 apps all the time, bringing in money. Lego. Then you had like Super Mario Run, great game. Paid. You had to pay for it in one go. Ooh, you lead the results. It was like 3% of people brought it, and then you look at like Fire Emblem of how much money that's been bringing in, going the traditional route for mobile, and like Nintendo go, we're just monitoring to see what's going on, and you're going, if you're looking at it for that. Super Mario Run to me makes the most sense. It's the one I would prefer them to go. Just buy the game and you'd be done with it. But they're going to look at it and go, "Did we got so much backlash and so many bad reviews because they had to pay for it? Why are we making it? We'll make it on this one."
In fairness, Mario Run kind of surprises you with that $10 purchase, though, as well. You download it for free, you get to play a couple of levels, and then it says, oh, if you want to play more, it's $9.99. To me, that's a little bit like, well, screw you. Tell me if you want $10 up front. I'd have a little more sympathy for that. But then there's also, of course, people who are just like, I play apps for free. I'm not giving you money for squat.
Yeah. I must admit, with Super Mario, I think I always knew it was $7.99 before it even started it, when they pushed it. It was like, oh, there's a demo. I was like, oh, good. I actually got to play 3 levels for free. But there's that thing about, I'm looking at it as a demo. Of course, everybody else, like you say, was doing the opposite. Going, what? No, I just wait till tomorrow and I can play the level. No, you can't do that. You have to wait. Well, no, I just wait a day and then I can do what I want. And like, no, you don't do that in this one. This is like a Mario game you buy on a console.
And then it's funny because the people who are going, I'm not going to spend $10 on Mario, are dropping $30 or $40 or $50 on Pokemon Go and Fire Emblem Heroes. It's like, do you even look at your budget ever? Do you realize what you're spending on these games?
No.
That was the thing for me with Disney Magic Kingdoms, because that's the one game that I really drop any money on.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not a significant amount of money, but once I started spending money on it, I'm like, I cannot let this become one of those things where I look at my bill a month from now and go, how the hell did I drop $500 on this game? Yeah. So I've got a spreadsheet, and every time I buy something in Disney Magic Kingdom, I'm like, all right, that's how much I spent on it. This is how much I've spent total. This is about how much I've been playing it. Is it worth the amount of money I've spent for it? And so far it is, but we'll see. Their pricing's gotten a little sketchy as we've gotten farther into the game.
I got a little bit too bad on the Mulan event, because I remember buying, again, Olaf at $2.99, fine, I'll buy it. $1.99, $2.99 for a character, I'll buy. Floats, not interested in. Buildings, not interested in. I wouldn't even waste gems on buildings and stuff. It's just like I let them build up till I need to buy stuff for the characters. And there's that thing. Mulan was like, there was that bundle of get this many gems, and it's like, I only needed 10 gems to kind of get Mulan, and I'm like, well, if I buy this pack, then I've actually got them for the next event. I was kind of like thinking ahead, going, I've actually means I've got 100 gems for the next event to do stuff. And it was like, well, it's $3.99, and therefore it is 50% off. And it was like, okay, it's not too bad. But, you know, I'm now get Jack Sparrow, get Boo, get Wally, £10. No, I'm not paying that. You know, if it was $1.99 to buy Boo, I would have brought it. That's the thing. At £10 each, I'm not buying any of them. Had they all been $1.99, I might have brought them. It's just like weird. Because I did say, I'm playing this game 2-3 times a day, and I am putting my time in it. It's worth some money to me. But I know there's other people that be like, no, I have to unlock everything, free. It's just a different way.
Everybody's got their own way of playing it.
Everyone's got their own way. Well, I think on that note, guys, that's going to be the end of this show. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think. I want to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/DisKingdom. You guys really do help in funding the cost of like the audio versions of the podcasts, and your support really does mean a lot. And so, James, where can they find you over at?
You can find me at heroiclegacy.com.
Okay, and you can find me over at DisKingdom.com. You can find us on all the different social medias. You can hit that subscribe button, like button, or follow button on whichever system you're watching or listening to this on. And we shall see you guys in a later video. Later.